Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican from the great state of Tennessee, serves on that very Senate Judiciary Committee that's meeting today. I want to get your top line information coming out of that hearing today and where you think we're going with protecting the justices.
Harris, one thing we know is the left is upset about the Supreme Court doing their constitutional duty. And so they've called for this hearing today. What we do know is that the left would like to have an activist court, and they're upset that this is not an activist court. Now, protecting the justices should be item number one that is being discussed. And as you and I have talked, going to the homes of justices, approaching them, trying to influence a decision, the way they've conducted themselves, there is a way for peaceful protest. There is a way not to protest. What we're seeing from the left right now is what you ought not to be doing. I'm very concerned about the safety of our justices and their families, whether they're at home or whether they are out for dinner.
Senator, I want to make a difference between those two things, and it's a stark difference. Maybe you can explain it better than I. But when you offer geolocation information on an individual outside of a publicly declared event, like your schedule we can get, right? And a lot of senators and House members put their schedules right up on their websites. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you just said, going to dinner. We're talking about those things that you would have to use a device, a geolocator, stalk, follow people in an aggressive way to figure out where they're going. And that is outside the bounds of what you're talking about is protected.
That is right. And there is that statute, 18 U.S.C. 1507, that says to do this, to go parade and to protest outside of someone's home, to harass them. This is something that is against the law. And the Department of Justice needs to be focused on going after the individuals, the groups that are breaking the law. And they should be very intent on keeping our Supreme Court justices safe so that they can do their job. We've got three co-equal branches of government. You have your executive, your legislative, your judicial. Each of us are required to do our job in order to keep this nation free, to keep it safe, and to make certain that we have a government that is of, by, and for the people.
Real quickly, that hearing today with Democrats, it's a squawk fest from what I'm reading to gin up their political base. Can anything else be accomplished from this for Democrats after the overturning of Roe versus Wade? Just a quick thought on that.
I think the Democrats are terribly misreading what people are most concerned about right now. And Harris, when we look at the midterms and we're looking at issues that people are talking about, 1, 2, and 3 are inflation, inflation, inflation.
Yes, you got it. All right, let's move to this. Just under 4 months away now from the 2022 midterm elections. And the abortion issue, of course, expected to be a factor for some voters. You're saying Democrats may be overestimating that for their party. While the issue typically pits Democrats against Republicans in states like Florida and Arizona, it's playing out pretty differently in some recent primaries. Here's a Politico headline. Abortion divides Democrats in key primaries. Quote, Democrats have increasingly started using abortion as a cudgel against each other, a sign of how the issue will be used to energize liberal voters in the remaining 21 primaries before the November elections. Your reaction?
Well, what we know is that most women are anti-late-term abortion, and they're anti-taxpayer dollars being used to fund abortion. And when women find out that this is not a ban on abortion, that this is returning the issue to the states, most women agree that this is where it should be. And then they turn to other issues: inflation, crime in the streets, drugs, fentanyl, the deaths that are there, that open southern border. And those are the things keeping their families safe, making certain that the economy is in good shape, the price at the pump, the price at the grocery store,
Yes.
the fact that fentanyl is killing middle schoolers, high schoolers, young people, the leading cause of death in 18 to 40-year-olds. Those are issues that are at the top of the to-do list for most women that I am hearing from.
Well, and look, the divide among Democrats on this issue may
Yes.
speak to exactly why former President Obama didn't codify Roe versus Wade when he had majorities, and Democrats
Yes.
had the White House again. I mean, it's not just Republicans that have their own way of looking at it. As you say, women are divided on the issue.
Yes.
In some corners, and in some corners they're completely together in ways that maybe Democrats can't quite understand or wouldn't be able to predict. I want to get to this. Up to 40,000 National Guard soldiers are set to be fired this week over their refusal to take the COVID vaccine. Senator, your plan to introduce legislation to back these guardsmen is picking up steam. Tell us about the plan and why you think it is getting support right now.
Yes, it is getting broad support. And we found out that not only is it the guardsmen, they're adding 20,000 reservists. So it's a total of 60,000, Harris. And my legislation is introduced. It is picking up steam. We are trying to get this incorporated into the NDAA, the Defense Authorization Act. And what it would do is prohibit the use of taxpayer funds to implement this firing of our National Guardsmen and women and also our reservists. What we know is the pandemic is over. You can get on a plane. You can go without a mask. People are back to work. But this White House wants to declare the pandemic in effect against our U.S. military. This is something that is a far reach. The American people are against it, and I am so thrilled to have so much support from every corner of this country to get this included in the NDAA, to get this bill passed, to make certain that we preserve the right of our guardsmen and women to be able to serve this country without having to take a vaccine. We're seeing the vaccine does not keep you from getting COVID. Look at that. Look at the people in the Senate, the people in the House right now that have COVID. And they've all been double vaxxed and boosted, and they still get it.
Well, Senator, later this hour, I'm going to talk with Dr. Siegel, one of our experts here at Fox, about the fact that the federal government is somewhat sending us, or perched to send us backwards on later this week, possibly Friday, by declaring yet that federal level of emergency over COVID. So what you're saying is something that's going to stay in the nomenclature, stay in the headlines.
Yes.
And please let us know what happens with your bill as we move through. We need our military for sure and whole. We can't go forward without 60,000 members of them. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Thank you.